Today I'm taking a look at the Amiibo wireless transmitter. So these are much fancier than I'm used to with these little guys, instead of what I usually see, which is basically just a USB dongle. So we got our antenna connectors here on the top, we got our interface here on the side. So this is something that you do not normally see with wireless transmitters. This actually has a spot for NPF style batteries. Most of the time you have to find an external source of power, which is usually fine for me. I just usually use a V-mount battery, which is probably what this port right here is for. But it is nice that we have the option of using an NP style battery. And it does say for a power source, it's going to use 5 volts to 2 amps, so about 10 watts. You got our eject button on the side. In the back we got our USB-C power. You got a DC in if you want to use a barrel connector, and we got our on-off switch. Now, that's nice. So this actually even has a 1/4-20 mount. So you can actually mount this to a light stand or to a magic arm, something like that. And here is our HDMI port. This is a female HDMI. Now you can see right here, this is the RX, so this is a receiver. This is going to connect to your monitor. This one appears to have all the same things, except this one has an HDMI in as well as an HDMI out. So you could use this as a pass-through device. Definitely something you don't get with most transmitters. And this one says TX. This is the transmitter. This will connect to your camera or your computer or whatever you're going to be sending information from. Also has a battery slot in the back, and also can use a barrel connector or a USB-C power. Here we got our instructions, and we got all of our accessories. We have 4 antennas, and these are bendable, so if you want to get that out of the way, you can do that, and they simply thread into those ports. We have 2 HDMI extenders. They are both ribbon cables, so these are very nice. So these 2 are adapters. They are 1/4-20 to cold shoe or hot shoe. So if you want to mount this directly to your camera using a cold shoe mount, we can do that with this, and that does come with 2 of those. Then we got our 2 power cables. That is USB-A to USB-C, and we have 2 HDMI adapters, so those both go from regular HDMI to mini HDMI or micro HDMI. So that way, if you need to connect this to your camera and it has a weird looking port, you can still use this. So for the receiver, I'm going to plug in the HDMI, and I'll plug USB-C into the side. Okay, so we are booting. So this actually has a fan in it, so you don't have to worry about this thing overheating. We've got a full-on interface, so we hit the middle button, we can check the version and switch channel. So that way, if you have a bunch of systems recording all at one time, we can actually set this to another channel so they are not interfering. Reset language and exit. And with that plugged in, we can see exactly what we need to do if we want to connect this. We can see there's no HDMI signal, so we're not receiving anything, which is normal because I don't have anything plugged in. And we can see this actually has different modes on it. So if we want to, this can have higher quality, or we can just have more FPS. Right now, to set to fluid mode, more FPS. I'm going to keep it that way because I just want to use this as a preview for this camera. And the higher frame rate is going to help me to see what I'm actually doing. Then for my camera, I'm going to use the adapter, and I'll plug in USB-C from my V-mount battery. And this one also has a fan. So you'll need to keep that in mind if you're going to be doing a lot of audio work. It is not very loud, but it is something that you need to keep in mind. We can now see the camera is connected to that monitor. It is connected wirelessly. So I can pick this whole rig up, I can move that around, and I don't have to worry about any wires interfering between here and the monitor. I don't have to worry about accidentally bumping something and then knocking the whole thing out. This is a much more usable setup. Now it does appear that there's some flickering going on there. That is due to the frame rate of the camera. This looks perfectly fine to the eye. But yeah, love having those big antennas on there, so I know I got an excellent range and I'm gonna have a good connection. Like this actually has features like a display on there, as well as an interface that actually appears on the monitor. That is a very nice and very nice looking transmitter.